Alder Spate.
Here.
Alder O'Connor.
Here.
Alder Holmquist.
Here.
Alder Bussey.
Here.
Mayor Miller.
Here.
Alder Wood and Thomas are absent and excused.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the January 4th, 2016 meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Corrections or deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes have been approved. There's no one here this evening. Mr. Kitzler, did you? For an appearance, there's no public hearing this evening. The consent agenda, we have a number of applications for 2015 and 16 operator licenses. I would entertain a motion for approval.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The licenses have been approved. Moving on to council action items under is it under new business?
New business, yeah.
New business. I would ask the indulgence of the council that we have the upper management of our crack fire department with us this evening. And Tuesdays, as you all know, is training night. And their attendance at training would be greatly appreciated. So if you wouldn't mind if we could move item 2B, which is start for immediate action tonight for new business, so the chief and the
2A.
assistant chief could go.
2A, does the chief want to talk on that?
Oh, we'll
Yeah.
do, yeah. We'll start with that. So both items 2A and 2B. So item 2A is consideration of resolution 16-1-2070, the approval of a contract renewal with EMS Medical Billing Associates, LLC. Again, you will note it is start for immediate action. Is there a motion?
Move to suspend rules, take this item out of order.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor of suspending rules, taking this item out of order, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Chief Sullivan, welcome.
First of all, thank you for taking this out of order so we can get back to our training. This is a renewal of the contract. The contract was changed a little bit, and we've been going over it for about a year. Well, not quite a year, but some of the language in the contract changed. I sent it on to Attorney Cole, and he has been working back and forth with the attorneys for the billing company to smooth out some of the stuff that was questionable on it. And the questionable was basically, they had terminology in it that if there was a lawsuit, it would be taken care of in Milwaukee County. We obviously want it done in Dane County. They're based out of Milwaukee County, so it made sense from their standpoint to have it in Milwaukee County, but us being the customers, we wanted it for us here in Dane County. So Attorney Cole went back and forth with them, and came up with this language for the contract. We're both comfortable with the language in the contract. We're very happy with the service that EMS Medical Billing has provided us with. It's been the same billing company for about 5 years now, and they've done an excellent job for us. Our revenues have increased quite a bit since the time that we brought them in, so I'm looking for approval for the next year's contract with them.
Any questions of the chief? I will note this was approved earlier this evening at Personnel and Finance. Hearing no questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item 2B, start for immediate action, is consideration of Resolution 16-1-2071 is purchase approval of a 2016 Pierce Enforcer PUC triple combination pumper rescue.
Move to suspend the rules and take this item out of order.
You care to second that?
I'll second that.
The motion's to second, suspend the rules, take the item out of order. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion for approval, Alder Spate?
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you again. This is for approval for the purchase of the truck that we've been talking about for the last few months. We've been dealing with it for about a year, putting together a truck committee, and this will be, like the mayor said, the Pierce that we talked about before, that we approved a single source on it. The purchase price on it is $599,755. We got an interest discount and a chassis discount for the final price of $568,615. That does not include the sale of the current engine 2, which we basically feel that $25,000 is a conservative number on that, which brings us in under budget about $5,800. Chief Heckloff is the head of the truck committee, so I'll let him go over what exactly the truck is, and if you have any questions on the truck.
As we had discussed before, this truck is unique in that it is built lower to the ground, so to speak, so we can actually make it fit into our fire station. Pierce is the manufacturer. They have a couple patented items that they use. The mayor had called it PUC. It stands for Pierce Ultimate Configuration. But in essence, what that means is that the pump is relocated on the truck to a lower position under the cab. All the plumbing is actually lower than that. There's a picture here I can show you if you care to. It assists us with getting 15 pounds of stuff in a 10-pound bag. The chassis that we've looked at and recommended is specifically designed for the fire industry, and it's 4 inches lower than most other custom fire chassis. Front end suspensions is made and developed by Oshkosh Truck, which owns Pierce, and they have what they call a TAC 4 suspension, which again lowers the height of the truck. The travel height is lower. We still meet the NFPA requirements for clearances, 8 degrees of angle of departure. All those standards are still met. As you also know, our goal is to take 3 trucks and replace it with 2. So this truck does allow us the ability to store some of our rescue equipment that's currently on our squad. When our next engine gets replaced in 2023, we will probably get a similar design truck, and we'll be able to take the balance of the equipment off the squad, put it on that new engine, and then we surplus the squad. The squad will be 30 years old at that time, so we won't have to replace it. We can reduce our fleet by 1. We carry a lot of equipment. Obviously, the pumper side of it, it carries the hose, the water, the foam, and all those things. This truck also has an integral rescue component to it, where it has hydraulics. You open up, there'll be a cover on the front bumper. You open it up, there's 2 hydraulic reels. Tools will be right there. The pump is integral to the truck. We push a button and we get our hydraulic power. This truck is very well designed. It meets our needs. This company is who we bought our last 3 trucks from. They're a Wisconsin-based company. Their service is great. They're 2 hours away if we do need to have something done. And I would recommend that you go ahead and authorize the purchase. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer it. I do have the specifications here with us tonight. And it's about 144 pages long. And it details everything to the tires, the kind of covers we put on the lug nuts. So,
Did I hear right, 9 months for delivery?
that is correct.
Just like a baby.
That's
Hopefully it'll be here for Fire Safety Week for christening.
it'd be close if it was.
Questions of these gentlemen? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Bussey?
Aye.
Alder Spate?
Aye.
Alder O'Connor?
Aye.
Alder Holmquist?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Fly away. Thank you for your hard work and all that you're doing. Keep us safe. Now, moving back to the beginning of the evening. Item G1 under unfinished business. A, consideration of resolution 16-1-2064. Purchase approval of 1 current model year 1-ton chassis cab brought forth by the Public Works Committee.
Move approval.
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Mr. Stefani.
Thank you, Mayor. This is back for the second reading. It did go before the January 6th Public Works Committee, which they did recommend approval of the one-ton chassis from Ewald Automotive Group for the price of $28,362. This will be purchased on the state contract as well, shared with a purchase with the Parks Department. The budget that we have is $37,500. Again, this truck is $28,362 through the state contract, and our dump body upfit price is $8,985, coming in $153 under budget.
Questions of Mr. Stefani? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Bussey.
Aye.
Alder Spate.
Aye.
Alder O'Connor.
Aye.
Alder Holmquist.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Item 1C is consideration of Resolution 16-1-2069, ratifying the list of City of Monona landmark properties brought forth by the Landmarks Commission.
Skipped one.
All right, we'll do this one.
Got one more, Mayor.
No, we'll go back. Consideration of Resolution 16-1-2065, purchase approval of one current model year plow truck equipment package to go with the last truck. Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion second. Mr. Stefani.
Thank you, Mayor. This is back for the second read as well. We did discuss this at the January 6th Public Works Committee meeting and received the recommended approval for the Lakeside International model for a price of $172,719.90. The fiscal note has been updated, as well as the equipment proposal summary. Another review of the proposal submitted by Truck Country for the Freightliner model. I did include two sheets that you'll see with this part of the packet. We found that they did not include their destination charge, their delivery price. That should have been included with their overall price. That's the $2,000 add-on, as well as some engine certification expenses. So they did leave those two out. And you can see right above that where it says items not included in adjusted list price. So that did increase the price. And then also their engine did not meet the specification. When they provided the explanation of the deviation, they indicated that for an engine to meet the specification, it would be an additional $1,849. So when you take those three additional prices, add them up and put on the base price, they were the high. So the Lakeside International was lower than the Truck Country proposal. Again, this does meet our budgeted amount of $183,000. So seeking your approval on this.
I will note both the first item and this item were approved earlier this evening at Personnel and Finance. Alder Bussey.
And just thanks to Dan and the Public Works Committee for digging through the gory details to come up with those variances in the proposals. Appreciate it.
Further questions? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Holmquist.
Aye.
Alder Bussey.
Aye.
Alder Spate.
Aye.
Alder O'Connor.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Deja vu all over. Item C, consideration of Resolution 16-1-2069, ratifying the list of City of Monona landmark properties brought forth by the Landmarks Commission. Is there a motion
Approval.
for approval? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Ms. Reichertz.
Thank you. This is a second read, and it's largely a record-keeping action just to recertify what our official record of official City of Monona landmark properties are. The new members on the commission, after reviewing the records, found that it was a little disjointed as to what was approved when, and this will hopefully keep those issues from coming up again in the future with an official comprehensive record of all of them in one place.
Questions of Sonia? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item 1D is consideration of ordinance 1-16-673, amending section 13-1-64 of the Code of Ordinances concerning historic conservation, again brought forth by the Landmarks Commission. Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Sonia?
And this is also here again for a second read. I'll just start at the last council meeting that this was reviewed. There were some questions, maybe concerns over if this ordinance changed anything in regard to the city's authority in regulating demolition or redevelopment of cities that, of properties that are designated as a city landmark. And the answer is no, it doesn't change anything with the city's current authority to prohibit redevelopment in any way. It just does three things, and that's one, to add demolition permits as a trigger for the review process. Two, to insert the Landmarks Commission as a review authority. They previously were excluded from the process entirely, and as the body that has expertise on historic conservation, inserting them back into the process was desired. And then the third change is the addition of a lot of the language at the beginning of the ordinance, including the purpose and intent and designation criteria and things that are important to guide the Landmarks Commission as they review landmarks in the future. I should add, too, that this was reviewed and approved by the Plan Commission and also City Attorney.
Any questions of the city planner? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Item G1E is convening in closed session under Wisconsin statute section 19.85 paren 1 paren C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. This evening, we would be considering the city planner's salary adjustment. Is there a motion to convene in closed session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder O'Connor.
Aye.
Alder Holmquist.
Aye.
Alder Bussey.
Aye.
Alder Spate.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will be back in 10 minutes or less.
The library will close in 12 minutes. Please make your
I think so. I don't have to come to a ton of the council meetings, so I think Dan is a pretty regular figure. Enjoy the facilities, just coming to keep up to speed and.
Yeah. So I'm running for city council, so I just figured I'll start to set some of the stuff up. I don't think I'll make it to everyone before the meeting,
Right.
but just figured as I can
Yeah.
show up and all that.
Are you going to do a lot of campaign stuff to get your name out there since Kathy's not running?
Yeah, there's two sides of the coin, and it's interesting who says to do what. I mean, my perspective is, I'm going to do campaigning, it's just not as much as I
Right.
would. But it is, I feel like it's a good process to get out there and hear from people that don't show up to these types of things. And I'm lucky because I grew up in Monona, so my name has some sort of recognition. But at the same time, I don't want to take that for granted.
Right.
So I do want to kind of step out of the kid growing up in Monona and then the adult that now lives here running for an office. Yeah, so that would be ideal. So I'll do a little bit. I tried to reach out to like some senior centers, not our senior center quite yet, but like Heritage and the Monona Meadows. Do just kind of a listening thing. Heritage doesn't like that.
Oh.
Yeah, they recommended me to reach out to the senior center. They're like, oh, they would do that. So I'm like, oh, I was gonna do it anyways, but I was
Right.
like, well, I was trying to go to where they.
Yeah, make it really easy.
And I'll still do yard signs, and I'll do like a phone card, like a little thing, but I'll do it now.
Okay.
But it's interesting, 'cause some people are just like, if you're unopposed, like, don't even do yard signs, don't do
Right.
anything, like, but I just don't think that's fair.
Yeah, that also portray that maybe you're just not
Yeah,
invested in some way.
yeah,
It's more about just getting to know everybody.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
getting-
so,
And you're Jennifer Call's brother?
yeah,
Right, okay.
yeah.
And then is your mom is Pam?
Yeah, yeah.
And she's at the community center?
Yeah, Parks and Rec. Yeah.
Right, okay. So did you go to Monona Grove High School?
Did you grow up right here?
Watertown.
Okay.
My mom's family is from this area, so she went to La Follette and my uncle went to Monona Grove.
Oh, that's fun. Where do you live now?
Watertown.
Oh, you do? That's
So,
cute.
yeah, it's not too bad. It's 35, 40 minutes. We live near Johnson Creeks, so
Okay.
right off the interstate, so it's
Yeah.
pretty simple to get here. It's nice not to have to go on the belt line or go to the west side.
Yeah.
East side better.
Yeah.
We lived in Madison for the last 6 years. My fiance went back for his master's, and it's just cheaper to live at home for
Yeah.
now. So in the next year or so, we'll see what we want to do. But
Yeah.
it's
Did
been
you
fun.
buy in Monona?
Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah.
I did look at first, and it would be nice to have a 2-minute commute
Yeah.
instead of 40 minutes.
Yeah, I never thought it'd come full circle and actually live in Monona. I mean, we rented out by Grandview Commons.
Yeah, we were just out there
For a month.
most recently too.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice place.
Great game and everyone.
Yeah, it was super great. Or like, yeah, we call it the Metro Market.
Yeah.
Right there. But yeah, so, I mean, we looked at McFarland, we looked at the east side of Madison, we looked everywhere, but,
So you ended up buying recently,
yeah, so we bought in January of last year. And
Okay.
actually bought from a high school classmate of mine.
Okay.
Didn't know what it was. And we were just kind of doing open houses
Mhm.
and just seeing what we could get in price ranges and things like that. And that whittled us down to basically Monona. There was a few Farland options. But we passed this one and we're like, oh, let's pull over and go. And then we got our realtor involved and we were just like, oh, let's put an offer in, which was like, I mean, it was like $40,000 less than they were asking. So, because our realtor was like, I wouldn't really ask much, like, I wouldn't pay more than that, so maybe this is what we should do. So we did it, and it ended up working out, so, so it was pretty well done.
I think a lot of people in the United States know.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's yeah.
Still fight that urge when it's clerk call the roll. Don't talk. Oh, you don't have my cheat sheets. I know, or my laptop. This time I wore my fuzzy boots too. Oh yeah, because it's every night.
Doesn't that caught my eye?
And they said, she said, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but on what you're saying, all of a sudden it,
Particularly regarding.
I'm like, I'm trying to, okay, I only know one. So,
This.
Small world. You knew that, didn't you? That who he was related to.
Yeah, but it's I didn't get much out.
Wow. Rock star, celebrity. Got a whole backstory there. All right, moving on to item 6G1F is reconvening an open session under Wisconsin statute section 19.85 paren 2. Item G is consideration of resolution 16-1-2068, revising the title and salary for the city planner position, brought forth by the city administrator. Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is a motion second? Discussion? Alder Bussey?
I think that one of the important findings of fact is that this is a promotion with added responsibility, and that was,
An increased.
yes, increased compensation because of it.
And responsibilities. Alder
And
O'Connor?
a change in title.
And a change in title, dropping assistant.
Mhm.
to- Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Development Director. Go direct some development, please, quickly. Item H is consideration of Resolution 16-1-2074, amending the 2016 operating budget for the City Planner Economic Development Director salary adjustment, which was just referred to. Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You get paid for that job now. Even better. Moving into new business, item 2C is consideration of Resolution 16-1-2072, approving a one-year extension to the agreement with Vanderwall and Associates, Inc. for services related to the mixed-use waterfront redevelopment project, brought forth by the city planner. Economic Developer Reichertz?
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. This is a request for renewal of the Vanderwall and Associates contract for professional planning services to assist with the riverfront redevelopment. And this is a renewal of what we were working under for the past year with Vanderwall and Associates, drafting master plan concepts for the riverfront site and running the pro formas associated with that and responding to developers' draft master plans, and their assistance has been valuable so far. The budget total is not to exceed $120,000, with the idea that it would be fairly consistent from month to month. But now that we've completed a lot of the draft master plan work, the tasks will vary depending on developer recruitment efforts and so forth. So it would vary, somewhere between something less than $10,000 a month as needed.
At Personnel and Finance tonight, I had originally thought we might table this because this has not appeared before CDA yet, but we did approve it knowing that this was the first reading tonight, and that would allow feedback from CDA prior to taking the final vote.
But aren't they canceled their next meeting?
Nope.
No.
Oh.
CDA meets next Tuesday, and this will be on
Next
the
Tuesday.
agenda.
So
I'll
why do you think
reread
that?
at the end. I thought it said that.
That was
the next-
December, probably.
Ah. Okay.
Questions?
Oh, I did have one.
Yes. Alder
Um,
Holmquist.
Is this paid from, where is this?
There's two ways that this can be. We learned about this from Mark earlier this evening. There's two ways this can be paid for. There will be a short-term borrowing made to acquire the next set of properties in March, and it could be added to that borrowing, a short-term borrowing at a fixed interest rate, or, and I think this, I know this is the preferred suggestion, is that it be, you can borrow against the TIF, the city, or against the general fund for use with the TIF. So we would come up with an appropriate interest rate charge to the TIF, and Mark shared the example of Fond du Lac, was it, had one, or Oshkosh, where they had used that tool and paid a 5% borrowing cost. He preferred that because this money, depending on what Sonia and what CDA needs for this project to go, some months it might be 12, it might be nothing. And that way, rather than borrowing it in one total amount where you could risk arbitrage if we didn't use the monies, this way it would be use as you, or pay as you use. And so it pay back. And so then asked, just to reconfirm, which I think we all know, we have a substantial reserve in there, so we'll be borrowing against that reserve and then paying it back out of the TIF once we have a TIF eligible project. So did that kind of help? It's not as eloquent as those financial people, but Alder Spate?
And so just to clarify, that would mean that the interest payments would actually be going back to a city entity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to add?
Nothing additional.
Okay, and just the one thing, she's heard it many times, but I want to stress it again, especially in her new role, is that Sonia manages Vanderwall, so they don't just decide that they're going to plan something. And I was getting nervous on service agreements because the bill always seems to equal what the budgeted amount is at the end of the period, and it doesn't necessarily have to, so we'll use it as needed and we won't use it if not needed. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2D, start for immediate action, is consideration of 2015-16 Class C wine and Class B fermented malt beverage license premises extension of Shrestha Family LLC, owned by Madan Shrestha. Can't say that very well.
Yeah, Shrestha.
Shrestha. Designated as the Swad Indian Restaurant at 6007A Monona Drive, brought forth by the License Review Committee.
Move to suspend the rules and take this item out of order.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor of suspending the rules, taking this item out of order, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
There's second. Motion and second. Discussion. Since Alder Wood is not here, Joan?
Do you want any
Yep, if you would,
background on
please.
this?
Yep.
Okay. This is very simply that SWAD is expanding into half of the unit next door to provide a more private area for meetings and their patrons to use, and also probably overflow seating if they got real busy. But it does have, they did go over the fact that they have enough parking. They have an emergency exit there, and everything has sort of been covered by all departments already. And this was just the licensing to increase their licensed premise area.
Questions? How exciting. I just love this little strip mall is becoming our little UN of dining experiences. As I ate at
It really
Beng's
is.
earlier this evening and had a wonderful experience. So if there's not any further questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? License or consideration is approved. Moving on to item 2E is start for immediate action, consideration of 2015-16 Class A liquor and Class A fermented malt beverage license applications for WDS Inc., 704 Raymond Road, Wanakee, Wisconsin, 53597, known as Lacali's Lakeside Liquor, 6325 Monona Drive, brought forth by License Review Committee. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Move to suspend the rules, take this item out of order.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, suspend the rules, take this item out of order. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Joan?
Again, this was, as you know, with the passing of Pat McAsee, the licensing of Lacali's and other businesses that Mr. McAsee owns is kind of being shifted with ownership. This is a shift. This is an ownership change to a new owner who is going to run Lacali's Lakeside Liquor. They're not going to have the food items in there. They are this owner
Food
does,
items in there?
they used to have meats and stuff, I guess.
Okay.
This owner has 4 other liquor stores in the area, Middleton and Wanakee, or 3 other, pardon me. This will be his 4th. He's going to upgrade the security at the location and including rearranging the way that the counters are to be more secure for both patrons and employees. Lighting will be improved. He's going to hire Permar security systems, and then he will probably work with Tully's on any parking issues that they may have. It seems like a very responsible vendor, so it's
Is this a sale of the business?
Of the business, yes. He doesn't
What-
own the property, but
Okay.
he owns the business.
Who owns the property? So,
The name came up, but I don't know the name.
okay,
But he would like, I mean, it could change hands at some point, but.
okay, interesting. Alder Holmquist?
So that last bit of information might make this somewhat of a moot point, but I know this property has come up quite a bit regarding the signage and compliance with signage and the overuse of banners and no permanent signage. And so I'm wondering if this is tied to their license or if that can be addressed from a different angle. And the other had to do with facade improvement program and the encouragement, if it did change hands, for them to consider looking into that.
Advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also maintenance of we had to remind them about the sidewalks this winter and taking care of the shrubbery and the plantings. It's been an ongoing, but I think that probably goes with the building on land ownership and not so much the usage.
But maybe the signage, I'm not sure.
Yeah, signage probably
The
is.
sign would not be able to be attached so much to the license, but that would be something that our city planner, economic development director, I'm never going to be able to say that, would handle. And this person seems very willing and able and
Considerate.
really wants to be a good tenant to the city.
Alder Spate?
I will just note that this particular license is for a 6-month period, and so, or actually 5 months, so I imagine that's the remainder of the balance of what was the original license due to the change in ownership, and so given that, there will be an opportunity again this summer when the license is up for renewal to address some of these issues, perhaps, in the interim.
Further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F, start for immediate action, is consideration of 2015-16 Class B liquor and Class B fermented malt beverage license, new board membership, and change of agent for the East Side Club, Inc., also known as the East Side Club, 3735 Monona Drive, brought forth by License Review Committee. Is there a motion?
Move to suspend the rules and take this item out of order.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Joan?
I know, it's just weird for me, but the reason that this is even on the agenda is that they did a extensive staffing change in their board members and their agent, so I wanted to bring it to the attention of the License Review Committee and subsequently the council. They are not changing any operations or anything except to improve them. They want to have a little more oversight of what's going on at their business, and so they have changed their entire board. And so they're not really a new licensee, but quite a bit has changed for the license.
And License Review was pleased with what they heard
Yes.
was happening?
Yes, that that there's going to be more oversight and camera availability, and they're going to have additional cameras in the back of the building for the outdoor area, and they're going to work more closely with police.
Have we had problems there?
No, the problem really was more internal in this particular instance, but camera availability was an issue for them internally, and so they want to not only fix it for themselves, but also, improve it for the city's use.
Good. Questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item G is consideration of ordinances 1-16-674, amending chapters 7 through 13 of the Code of Ordinances concerning transient merchants, brought forth by License Review Committee. Joan?
Thank you, Mayor Miller. This was attempt and with the city attorney to improve the delineation in our ordinances for transient merchants who are have mobile food establishments, so the food carts down at the park. They really were being treated just as the rest of the transient merchants were, and I felt that there really should be a little more regulation of them in terms of licensing for to get proof that they have the health department certification, that they have insurance covering any issues, and that type of thing, and also auto insurance, even the basic like that for their vehicles in case there were any issues. So the city attorney's opinion was that it could be incorporated within the transient merchant ordinance instead of a separate ordinance. And so he did that, and his language is in there. We've corrected a few typos, so if you see typos, we've found a few. April found a couple, and I found a couple, so we've kind of fixed it. And I've updated the applications for both the transient merchant and the transient merchant mobile food establishment to match the ordinance. Previously, our ordinance was asking for things that was not on the application and vice versa, so we wanted those to be the same, and be consistent. And so that was our effort there.
Questions? Alder Bussey?
Joan, any reason that this couldn't be addressed tonight if we suspended the rules?
None that I can see, Alder Bussey.
You wouldn't see any of these people wanting to come and appear?
I don't think so, because as I said at Finance and Personnel, the Recreation Director did meet with the group that runs the food carts at the park, and I did not hear any feedback, so I'm assuming that they were okay with they had the draft of this ordinance, and so I assume that they're okay, because we had compared what we were asking for with other communities, and we aren't asking for anything that's unusual or extreme. Our fee that we decided to ask for the food carts is not anywhere near as high as many fees, so I'm pretty confident that this is going to be cover what we need and cover the bases, the situations, and pretty encompassing.
Alder Holmquist?
I'm good.
Oh, okay. Alder Spade?
I would add that, so that there isn't any confusion of cause and effect, that we have heard from Jake Anderson, the Director of Parks and Rec, that the kind of Monday night food cart thing will not be happening this coming summer. And it just has to do with the lack of people that were showing up. I mean, the vendors felt like they couldn't justify that, but they will be coming to do special events, which is a time when they're in higher demand. But that wouldn't have anything to do with this change in ordinance.
Right.
It has to do with what has happened in the past, so.
Darn.
Move
Weather
to,
didn't help this year.
move to suspend the rules and take this item out of order.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second to suspend the rules, take this item out of order. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second. All those, any further discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, City Clerk, for your hard work, and everyone involved on that. Item 2H, consideration of Resolution 16-1-2073, approving a proposal for city assessment services brought forth by the city administrator. City Administrator Little?
Okay, We sent out a request for proposal for assessor services, and we received back two. One was for Accurate, which is the contractor that we've had in the past, and the other one was for Associated Appraisal. I've worked with both companies over the years and have not had issues with, how they've run things or their personnel or anything like that. So we drafted the fiscal note that says we are recommending Accurate Appraisal, but it's mostly on a fiscal aspect. There's a slightly lower cost to going with Accurate because it would be a 4-year contract, and it would save about $36,520 over 4 years if we go with Accurate. There's a few other things. For example, they said they would honor their past practice to send letters to all residents even if the assessments has not changed. That's not something that is required by law, so it's not typically put into proposals, but we could put that into the contract, and we told them that's what we would be interested in doing. And also, they do not charge a fee for loading the data on the website. There's just a small cost with Associated of $46.76. The budget for this in 2016 was $75,000. If we went with either company, we would save money, slightly more with Accurate Appraisal, about $42,000 versus I believe it was $45,000 with Associated. So with that being said, on the next page of the packet, I think some of the aldermen are familiar with the issue that had come up in the past with a complaint filed against Accurate Appraisal in regards to some of their assessment practices. And I had asked Department of Revenue for some facts from their perspective on the events that had transpired. And I guess the phrases that kind of concerned me personally the most were that the assessor had failed to verify and validate sales according to the Wisconsin Property Assessment Manual. So that had concerned them enough that they had done a review of the assessment practices that they had done in Town of Rock, Delavan, and Geneva. And they had given the owner of the company, Mr. Danielson, a warning, and he had surrendered his license voluntarily for 6 months while Department of Revenue was reviewing his work. So this was kind of hanging out there, and I know I personally wasn't 100% comfortable recommending Accurate based on this scenario. And I think what it's going to be is a bit of a he said, did they make an example out of him, or is there really valid concerns to this? So one thing that we had thought about was bringing in one or both of the companies to hear a proposal from them, hear Mr. Danielson's side of the case, and we could do a little more research with some of these other communities, if that would be what the council would desire before we draft a contract and go too much further. So
that was my thought, personally in finance, and if you followed this in the last year, my first blush was, no, that's not a company we probably want to do business with. But the more I've learned, the more I've looked into it, there may be some more to the story, and I think it would warrant, in the case of the city clerk, has had just a wonderful experience in the way they've handled their business here, and we haven't had any follow-up lawsuits over anything. And there's a difference that Mark shared earlier this evening. If you look in their proposal, they give a list of the communities they serve, and there's a column that describes the services provided. In most of the communities, they do a maintenance agreement, which is where they will only reassess based upon the sale of a property, or not a sale, but taking out of a building permit where something fundamentally changes, versus full service where on the sale or anything that transpires on the property, they do, a comps. And Monona uses full service. So whatever happened out there would not have affected Monona's style of doing business. It was for those maintenance communities that use those services. And so I just thought it would be good that we just hear from the horse's mouth of why one might be better, because there is as was brought up at the last meeting, we should take serious lowest bidder if they're appropriate. In this case, I think there's some concerns we might have that may legitimize not going with the lowest bidder, but I think we should really take this one to the nth degree to figure out what it is we want to do. So that would be my recommendation, and Alder Bussey, I guess, concurred at Personnel and Finance that we should try to find out as much as we can on this. And again, it's different this year. For the first time in a number of years, we're doing 25% walkthroughs. So we're going to have more thorough, perhaps more feedback from residents, as they're going to need to get access to your home. Sometimes that brings its own challenges, but I think we're long overdue to begin this process. There's been so much going on in our community. So that is my thought. Questions? Comments? Do you as a group concur that we should invite them to appear at the next meeting? A representative from the companies?
Yeah.
I'm seeing nods of the head. Alder Spate, then
Just
Alder Bussey.
one quick question, because I wasn't seeing it. Like, what is the timeliness factor here? Like, when do we hope for these assessments to begin, and how soon do we need to settle?
I think there's somewhere that they would be starting soon. So
Okay.
at the next meeting, we will need to make a decision so that we can begin that process.
Okay.
Well, and typically a revaluation will cause a delay in the process, but
Does it?
you can always choose to convene and then say we will, temporarily, what's the word I'm looking for, Joan?
Sorry, I'm writing.
Oh, sorry. There's a fancy term they use for it. So, you can hold a meeting, temporarily adjourn it, essentially.
You're talking about the meet and
Board of
adjourn
review.
board of review.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a statutorily required meeting that within I think it's a 25-day period after May 1st, and that is done every year no matter what.
Mhm.
So I think this would not affect that time
Yeah.
frame at all.
Because-
but it would for them to do their walkthroughs.
Mhm. But we could, I think, adjourn as late as like September, October if we had to, if we're doing a revaluation.
Yeah.
As long as we meet in
Alder Bussey, then
June.
Alder O'Connor.
I guess at Finance, there was some discomfort, and we tabled it to this body to see what their wish was, and I personally would like to, if possible, to find out more about the other communities and possibly have somebody from Accurate address the concerns that we have at the next meeting, if that's...
One of my head scratchers in that this process of the licensing was directed from the community of Germantown. And so I looked, Germantown still is using Accurate. If the sheet is correct and it says it's current communities, and the other one does not have Germantown, so there's only two doing this or whatever for the most part. So that tells me something too. You're the one who went after Accurate, and yet you still use Accurate. So I'd kind of like to just, there's more to this story. Alder O'Connor?
Yeah, I think Alder Bussey pretty much covered my concerns, but I just want to be sure that they'll be ready to address what happened here, I guess, so that we get a better idea before we make a decision.
Any additional questions? All right.
Would you also like to hear from Associated
Yes.
Appraisal?
Yep.
Both
No, I
com-
think
both
just
companies?
That's
as
fair.
part of the hiring process, we want to, it's not so much we just want to learn about one, we want to learn about.
Well, I wonder why, can you help me understand why we would want to invite them when the report that we got back from Department of Revenue with 2 bullets that there have been no complaints and no issues with them, and if really this is triggering because we have 2 proposals, and one is the lower proposal, and we've liked their work, but we learned information that we want to know more about. I'm not sure what the other company, what we want to learn about.
Well, I just think it's a matter of fairness. You know, that we're listening to one, why would we not want to hear anything about the other? But that would be the only reason, just to be fair to both.
But the only thing that we're asking about is his response to
what happened,
the report.
Right.
Yep.
Not anything else about any of the proposal.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, and the thing is, I'm sorry, statutes guide, what they can and can't do. So, I mean, if you look, on the professional websites, you only see things like, well, we use Accurate, we use Associated, but you don't get a lot of feedback, really, because they come in and they kind of do their job, and usually they're pretty professional, and that's it. It's not like you're hiring a staff person that you're with all the time. So I didn't see a lot of variation between the 2, let's put it that way.
But your point's well taken.
Yeah, I can't think of any questions I'd ask Associated.
Okay. So I guess it's just for clarification as to what happened with Accurate. Does everyone agree to that?
Yeah, and I just want to ask the question, I take it that we might decide that perhaps we would deem Accurate to be unqualified if we are uncomfortable with their business practice, and that would lead us to simply default to the other proposal. Okay. I'm comfortable with that.
And there was also discussion, and Mark seemed willing, but we would need Bill. So April, if you could talk to Bill about, if something would evolve in this process, and we became uncomfortable because something came out later on, we want to have the right to make a change. So we have an escape clause, I guess, or very controlled set of escape rules. But so, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So. All right. Further discussion? Okay. Thank you. Reports of committees, commissions, boards, and the like. Alder Quist.
Public safety meets next week. I'm blanking on the full agenda, but it's it should be up on the website. If it isn't, it will be soon.
Alder Bussey.
Plan Commission next Monday, and for the fans of Big and Bang and Sheldon Cooper and his Fun with Flags, we have equally riveting Fun with Signs. So you're all welcome to tune in.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's a good sell.
Wow, what a teaser. Wow. Alder O'Connor.
Sustainability will meet on Thursday night, and we'll be one thing we'll be discussing is what projects from the sustainability plan we might want to focus on this year. Also, a group of members of the committee are going to be attending the Empower Showcase on Friday morning at Monona Terrace, where some of the people from city staff who've been working on Empower projects for the last year, they did it last year too, will be presenting along with other organizations.
You would be proud to be from Monona. Monona had a substantial presence there, and it was.
And they're always interesting to hear what other people are doing too. So.
Yep. Thank you. Alder Spate.
No report tonight.
City Clerk.
Working on training for election inspectors, gearing up for the election, finding quite a few issues with the whiz vote system, but trying to get through that to be prepared for February.
City Administrator.
I'm working on getting up to speed and trying to hit as many of those committee meetings as I can.
No more getting up to speed.
Oh no, you do some
pedal to the metal.
You do some stuff that's a little different here, but some stuff is the same at every place as you go.
And we're darn proud of it being a little different.
You betcha. It's like the sustainability in media. That's a little different there. So I'm trying to figure
some of them very well.
You do them very well, yes. I've been impressed so far. So if there's something particular you want to talk to me about or tell me about, I'm usually in the office.
Good. As mentioned earlier this evening when we were talking about restaurant expansion, I highly urge people to check out Monona's newest restaurant, our 4th new restaurant since this summer, Jing's Asian Kitchen. And with the expansion of SWAD and the Hispanic grocery store, it's its own little diverse community there for food choices. So very exciting. And we need to support these restaurants if we want to get more of the like. And we're talking to other restaurant groups. And so if we can show, as we've done so far, very good. And then it helped. Jing's had a wonderful review in the State Journal this week and then online. So that went a long ways too. I also noticed as I pulled in this evening, the skating rink is just a shimmer and a glimmer. It's beautiful at Winnequa Park, so once it warms up a degree or two, I think it could be an enjoyable experience there. Going back to business, I would also like to put in a plug for Christy Schilling and MESBA, the Monona Eastside Business Association. I think she brought in 17 new members in the month of January or December in 1 month alone. So that organization grows and serves as another voice and conduit out to the business community, and I think that makes for really good thing. And then finally, what great staff we have. I noticed when I was peeking at Facebook tonight that someone who does one of our radio shows on WVMO was hearing that we weren't streaming, that the stream wasn't on. So I checked and I couldn't get it. So when I arrived here for Personnel and Finance, I called Will Nimmo, who was quickly on it, and then shared, oh, just so you know, I'm in the car driving to the hospital to have a baby. Yeah. So I commend staff about rising
that is dedication.
Above all. That's dedication to fix
that's not
the voice of Monona while he's going. So I wish he and his wife the very best, and hopefully things go remarkably well this evening for them. So
is the birth beam broadcast?
We're not streaming for sure, but we may air the stream. That's all I have, and there are no appointments this evening, so I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move adjournment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.